Hi, this is Jason from Horrific Nightmares, and it's Friday, the perfect time for our Friday Fright Night. This is a segment created by my good friend, the HorrorFreak 85, in which he picks a theme and we do a horror movie based on that certain theme. This week's theme is Mutant Menace, if I remember correctly. And the film that I picked is The Hallow. Now, The Hallow is a 2016 film which runs approximately 96 minutes and is written and directed by Corin Hardy. Now, some of you guys are going to be put off, of course, because the only other thing I could find that he directed was the Nun, the spin-off from the Conjuring universe. I know that hasn't gotten a lot of good reviews, and not a lot of people liked it. I did. I thought it was pretty good. Not as good as some of the other entries, but it's pretty darn good. And I also love this one, to be honest. Now, this stars Joseph Mawle as Adam, and I'm going to try to pronounce this, Bohana Novakovic as Claire. Joseph Mawle was in The Heart of the Sea, and Bohana Novakovic was in Malicious, Devil, the M. Night Shyamalan film, and Drag Me to Hell. This film grossed $9,000 in the U.S., which is pretty bad. I'm not sure how it did overseas. Yeah. This film is definitely worth a watch, though. I actually found out about it, I do believe, by my good friend Nick, the Last Shoegazer, who said he watched it and he really liked it. Now, this is an Irish film based on folklore. Hardy, here's some interesting things about the film. Hardy is a fan of Game of Thrones and wrote the part with Joseph Mawle in mind. Joseph Mawle was in Game of Thrones. He played Benjen Stark. Now, I haven't seen the whole thing of Game of Thrones, so I'm not really sure who he is or what he has to do with it. Hardy describes the movie as Straw Dogs meets Pan's Labyrinth. Sorry about the shaky cam, guys. And that's pretty much spot on point. And Hallow was the winner of 2 awards from Total Film Magazine: Best Actor, Joseph Mawle, and Best Monster. Now, like I said, this is Mutant Madness for this week, and I'm going to get into the synopsis here. They're more like monsters, but they are mutations of people. Now, Joseph Mawle and his wife Claire go into the woods, and they buy a house in a part of the woods that is, quote-unquote, owned by the Hallow. And you don't really find out what that means until the end, and I'm not going to tell you because I'm not going to spoil it. But he seems to have something to do with the nature around. He's marking trees to have them cut down. Stuff like that. He's looking all around. People tell him that they don't want him in the woods, in that area of the woods, but he does it anyway because that's his job, and that's why he has the house out there. And they have a little baby which he carries around with him. He ends up finding a dead deer in a kind of like a wooded area, sort of like almost like a shed. And he's looking the deer over, and he finds these odd things growing out of the deer. Now, he cuts one of them off and drains the black ink-like fluid into a cup and takes it back. He's also a researcher. I don't know exactly what his title was, but he has something to do with the nature around and, marking the trees to get them, marking all the dead trees to have them taken down and just stuff like that. And he finds that this black ink coming from the deer, or the growth that was on it, has very odd results. I'll put it like that. It starts to take over the rest of the cells. I'm going to kind of have to leave it there because anything else I say will probably spoil the movie. Now, this is, of course, from Scream Factory, and this is the slipcover, which I think this is a really cool slipcover. Yeah. This is the cover that I'm more familiar with, and it does have a reversible cover that has this on the front of the other side, but I always like to switch them up. This is basically Irish folklore, and it really has a creepy vibe. The acting is fantastic, the special effects are unbelievable, and the mutation/monster design it's awesome. It just reminded me of something that the late Stan Winston would have come up with. That's how good it is. I'm going to give this movie, and I don't normally do this anymore. I'm thinking about going back and maybe taking up a rating for each of the films. I would definitely give this film a 7.5, maybe even an 8. I thought it was a fantastic film. It's not like The Nun for people who didn't like The Nun. Definitely give this one a chance. This guy does have a promising future. And definitely check out the HorrorFreak 85 so we can find out what he picked and his theme for next week. And if you like what you see in here, hit that like button and subscribe. And until next time, peace.